let's be honest, most diocesan marriage prep is underwhelming at best. Listen, we've been told that it is required to go through marriage preparation, or what the church likes to call pre-cana, in order to get married. And so we go to check the box and we go to either a weekend retreat, or we sit for a few nights in a church basement, or maybe we chat with the pastor of our church maybe twice or three times, and then we call it good. And a lot of times we feel even less prepared than when we walked in. I hear from couples all the time who come to me after they have gone through their required marriage preparation through their parish, whatever was provided to them, and they're like, I'm still so lost. And so that's why pre-Cana, in the way that it's been given, is not only a requirement that the church in her wisdom has said this is a really good thing to do, but it's missing the mark. And we're going to talk about why that's not okay and why you don't have to settle for the bare minimum. So let's have a little bit of a history lesson, shall we? The church in her wisdom has always said that every sacrament requires some sort of preparation. Sacraments are amazing. They make visible what is invisible. And in preparing for a sacrament, we get to learn about the reality of what's really going on, how to equip ourselves in order to live out and receive the grace that is given to us in this sacrament, and then to have the strength and know where to look and have the tools to come back to the sacrament and be able to use it in a way that brings us to our fulfillment on this earth. And so marriage is no different. In fact, it's the preparation for marriage should be even more involved, because you're not only preparing yourself, but you're preparing with another person. And marriage is a vocation. It's not just something that you get on your way to living your life. It is the way that you live your life. You're choosing to commit to one person for the rest of your life and to be married to them. That is a whole vocation. And the other vocations out there, to the priesthood and to religious life, on average, a young man in seminary spends 8 years in formation before becoming an ordained priest. And on average, a young woman who is entering religious life with an order will also take about 8 years of formation to live out their vocations. And so why have we been given a cheap version of sacramental prep for this really important vocation of marriage? And I'm going to tell you why. It's because lots of people get married. Okay, that is the biggest, you could say, vocation by far. And we've unfortunately lost the importance of really good prep. And because there's so many people who need to go through this, the church has unfortunately watered down a lot of her teachings, and in an effort to get couples through quicker, which is not the way to go about it. And so in case you didn't know, right, I wanted to share with you that if you are engaged, or you're getting ready to get engaged, and you're looking at options for marriage prep, you don't need to do it through your priest, or you don't need to do the weekend retreat. It is still required, absolutely, but there are other options out there, like my program, Dearly Beloved, that fulfills these requirements and exceeds them. And what that means for you is that you get quality marriage preparation that's real and relevant to the modern world and to your relationship most of all. Because this vocation that you're entering into, you're not just entering into a vocation that is there, you are creating that marriage with you and your fiance. It's something new. It's never been done before. It is between you, who is a very unique person, and your fiance, who is a very unique person. And so by you two entering into the sacrament of marriage, it becomes new. And in order for that type of marriage, your marriage, to be prepared for well, there needs to be a solution that is tailored to you, that is taking your story into account, that is walking you by the hand through this process to be formed, to be ready to say yes at the altar when that time comes. And that is what, dearly beloved, helps you do. Unique, personalized formation for marriage. Now, I remember sitting in my grad school at marriage and family classes, and I was just like stunned with, why am I just hearing this now? I grew up in a really Catholic home. We did a lot of our sacramental prep in alternate ways, and we learned a lot. I was a self study. I loved to learn more and more, far beyond what was required. And I was learning lots of things about the vocation of marriage that I had never heard before. And that stuck out to me as oh my goodness, more people need to know this before they get married, before they say I do. And so it hit me in that moment that that's why I was there, sitting in those classes for 2 years, because I was becoming equipped so that I could turn around and hand it on to people who were preparing for their weddings, to prepare for their actual marriage, so that couples wouldn't have to go through terrible heartbreak and really hard seasons of life to learn some of these things, or to sit in grad school for multiple years to get this formation. So I spent years studying marriage, not just as a theology student, but also in the real world, and as someone who believes that marriage is vital, right? Vital to the world, vital to the church, but more importantly, because it's how we were made. We were made for marriage, to be united with another in this way. And so it's not only important that we get it right, but it's essential that we get it right. And I want to help you prepare for your future in that same way, in a way that actually sets you apart and gives you the tools to really succeed, not just survive in this marriage, but really succeed in building a strong, holy, healthy marriage that will last your lifetime. Marriage preparation and the season of engagement, it's not just about getting through the ceremony. It's not just about checking the box and getting married. It's really about what happens after the wedding, after the honeymoon, the marriage itself. That is what this season is for. And so the real preparation means looking beyond the wedding, beyond the vows that are exchanged, beyond the flowers that you have, beyond the venue, right? Have you actually talked about your deepest values? Do you know what each other is like under stress? Have you been able to really communicate through a conflict that has been able to been resolved in a favorable way? Do you know how your partner processes pain or disappointment or really good joyful news, right? Have you had the hard conversations about intimacy and finances and values and your faith? Have you had those conversations, or are you just imagining they'll just happen organically one day? You see, most programs don't make space for these things. They say they do, but in reality, they don't, because that's not what they're designed to do. They're really designed just to fulfill this requirement, to say this person, this couple in front of us has received an adequate amount of information for them to be prepared for this sacrament. Well, I don't know about you, but that does not sit right with me. And I would not be okay with that being, that bare minimum being enough. Because let me give you a little bit of an analogy, right? Getting married without real preparation is kind of like signing up for a marathon and thinking that watching a couple of YouTube videos beforehand about running, okay, will get you to the finish line. You can try, but you'll be gasping for air by mile 2. And why is that? That's because marriage is real. It's a lifelong commitment, and it requires endurance, and it requires skill. It requires training and conditioning and preparation. And here's the thing that most athletes will tell you, that is that no athlete prepares alone. And they have coaches, they have teams, and they most importantly have a plan. They have a plan that they follow. Trust the process, right? People always say they need a process, and you should too. You should absolutely have a process to prepare yourself for marriage. What you need is real tools, relationship tools, but especially around communication. You need a really deep understanding of God's design for marriage, and you need a space to be able to ask questions and really put words to things that you're afraid to say out loud to other people in your circle, and get really good, honest feedback. And you need support from a real human, right? Not just like a workbook that you can flip through. And you need a guide who knows the terrain ahead and can help you navigate and build the tools to get through that, right? You need someone to walk with you. You need to ask the questions that you haven't even thought of yet. And you need to be challenged, right? You need to be affirmed, and you need someone who can root for you. And that's exactly what Dearly Beloved offers. Dearly Beloved isn't something that you will purchase and then never look at, but really it's live. There's live coaching, there's impactful teaching, and a beautiful workbook that you can open as many times as you'd like. And there's a community of like-minded couples who are also striving for these same things, who can not only speak into you when you're struggling, but you can look over at the other people who are running the same marathon as you and being like, hey, we get it. We understand each other, and you can help each other on your journeys, which is such a fun and unique, beautiful reality that you can step into when you have a community like this. And what's really important about this program is that it's about you and your relationship. It's about your relationship because it's so unique. You're two unique individuals coming together, building your marriage, a marriage that is unlike any other marriage that has ever been and will ever be. It's not about hypotheticals, it's about an actual relationship, your actual relationship. This isn't a one size fits all, it's a custom blueprint for your actual relationship. And I don't know about how many church basements and weekend retreats that can boast the same amount of unique, dedicated attention. One of the reasons why the church has always said that there is a requirement for marriage preparation is because they understand that now is the time to invest in your marriage. Now is the time to prepare and to have these deep conversations and to come up with a game plan for your marriage. There's no time like the present, right? And so I echo that same sentiment when I say now is the time to invest, because marriage is kind of like buying a new car, right? That you plan on driving for a really long time. And you have a couple options, right? You can either buy something on Craigslist with no inspection, no maintenance plan, and just pray that it doesn't break down. Or you can invest up front for something reliable, something that you know how to drive well, and that it will take care of you for decades. You'll learn how to take care of it so that it will continue to run, and it has safety precautions and all of these things, right? Well, most people go into marriage like the first option, just seeing what is, you see there's a requirement and seeing what's the lowest barrier of entry. How can I do that? And then they wonder why so many of them end up stranded on the side of the road. But Dearly Beloved is really like your maintenance manual, your driving school, and your emergency contact in all of it. With Dearly Beloved, you're not just checking this box and checking off this requirement and saying, I can now get married, I've been approved, right? But really, what you're walking away with is clarity on your unique dynamics as a couple, confidence in your communication with each other, a shared vision for your future, a spiritual foundation that can weather storms, and a deeper understanding of your vows and how to live them out daily. And having a relationship like that, that's what you really want, isn't it? If you want a marriage that doesn't just survive, but that really thrives, and you want marriage preparation that will actually get you there and prepare you for what's coming down the road, not just slap an approved sticker on and let you make this biggest decision of your life, then you want to learn more about Dearly Beloved. And you can do that on my website, and there's a link below. But I really encourage you, if you are interested, to book a call with me. And we will sit down and discuss how your unique relationship can be benefited from this unique marriage preparation and how we can tailor it to your specific relationship. I look forward to chatting with you. I'm cheering for you.